This show is brought to you by our partners, TalkSPORT BET. New customers get an exclusive offer of £40 in free bets when you bet £10. Go to talksportbet.com/Inside Devils to claim this offer now.
This whole back-to-back thing is embarrassing.
100%.
I've always said that I like his honesty, but the way that he's starting to talk now is going a little bit Ten Hag.
I don't think it's a stretch to say that at any one of the other 19 Premier League clubs, he wouldn't be in a job. It's as simple as that. It will happen. I'm almost convinced of that now. It's a question of when and not if.
What are you doing? I don't understand it.
Every week, there's more and more red flags.
Keith Andrews been adaptable, been a manager for 6 games.
I think we're throwing our captain under the bus. I think that is exactly what's happening here. And he can't play in that role. He'd be mad to take this job.
According to Ben Jacobs, he would take the job in a heartbeat.
Of course he would. As long as you give somebody a sufficient amount of time, which a year is enough to see if there's some improvement.
Yeah.
I'm not even asking to be in the hunt for top 4. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. You could be 8th with some improvement and something where I look at the squad and say, last year was a bit of an anomaly. Now we're seeing some stuff. We're going backwards.
No,
guys.
we are.
We're going backwards. If Ineos truly think that they need to, at this rate with what they're seeing, that the right thing to do is he has to have a year, at least this whole season. To me, as a fan, you're basically saying to us, it's okay to finish 14th or 15th. Hello and welcome to Inside Devils, sponsored by TalkSPORT BET, our weekly Man United show, bringing you everything coming out of Old Trafford. And it's back to square one again. We followed up our massive win at home to Chelsea with a 3-1 defeat in the capital to Brentford. Here to unravel it all is, of course, Angelina Kelly and Ryan's statman, Scott Douglas. And do you know what, Ryan? I don't want any more stats.
No, I'm not going to give it.
I actually don't want any from you today, unfortunately. Here we go. Back to square one.
Yeah.
And a pathetic performance away at Brentford. There's no other way to describe that. Was you expecting that, or was that a bit of a shock given that actually it was a good performance against Chelsea and we're looking to get back-to-back wins and a little bit of momentum and we put in that performance? Was that a shock to you, or have we just learnt to become accustomed to this?
I mean, it's always in the back of your mind that it's not going to go to plan and they will, end up messing it up. But I think going into that game, I was a little bit optimistic. I think I was allowed to be a little bit optimistic that, the Chelsea performance was good. There were positives to take from it. So going into this Brentford game, I of course I was expecting more. I mean, you asked me about the game against Sunderland. I'm expecting absolutely zero. I've learnt my lesson now. But, I had a couple of reasons to be a little bit optimistic. Listen, there were a couple of things that went against us, but it's no excuse. I think, to be honest, this whole back-to-back thing is embarrassing.
100%.
Like, the fact that Ruben Amorim has... And I've always said that I like his honesty, but the way that he's starting to talk now is going a little bit Ten Hag, I've got to be honest. But the fact that he's like, oh yeah, we were all talking about it at the training ground, and I don't want to get too Roy Keane here, but if it was this bad under someone like a Sir Alex Ferguson, it would not be, oh, let's try and get back-to-back wins. It'd be like, no, this is a disgrace. You shouldn't even be thinking about it. You just need to be winning your games. Why are we even talking about it? I just think it's embarrassing. And even things like, and again, this is not against anybody's kids, but footage of Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes' kids down at all the families were invited down to Carrington to look at the facilities and all the kids are having a kick about no, we're in crisis. Kids need to stay at home. We need to be focused here. Why have we got a family fun day going on?
It's the optics, isn't it? We're in the mud. We're trying to get out of it.
We're not worried about this. We're having a barbecue later. Yeah. It was just that whole thing is strange, but I do think it's embarrassing that this back-to-back thing is being spoken about, and the fact that he's also admitting that we were prepared for Brentford, we knew what to expect, and those goals that we conceded, we'd worked on that in training. It's stop talking. Stop talking, stop saying these things. But it was really frustrating. Just really disappointing. Defensively, we were so poor, and it's a shame because I've been impressed with De Ligt overall this season. I don't think he was great. There was a lot of ball watching. It's bizarre that Bayern is actually coming off a lot of these games now quite unscathed. The maddest
thing is he made a lot of saves at 1-0 to stop it being like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But the 3 goals we conceded, 2 of them, what on earth is he doing?
What's he doing?
What's he doing?
Well,
he's part of it as well.
Yeah,
That
he's
third
not
goal.
the biggest issue though.
Yeah,
which is,
third goal just dives past the ball.
He's controller disconnected. I just don't understand. Where are you diving to?
Yeah.
Where are you diving to? I just don't understand that. We're in such a bad place that Ange has absolutely nailed that there. We're in such a bad place that you can't, that phrase, both things can be true. The players are rubbish and the manager's rubbish.
Yeah.
They're both rubbish. We can also, what's the problem at Man United? Add an S to that. There are problems. And we can talk about the board as well. I'm sure we'll get into it. But it's just at every single turn, you look, there's problems here, problems here, problems here. I mean, like we said, the goalkeeper was shocking. Dillit had a stinker. I'm sorry, he did. Dalot, where the ball comes over the top, where's Dalot running to?
Dorgu as well. I mean, I know you guys gave me stick when I wasn't having it.
No, fair. Yeah.
And maybe I was a little bit too quick to judge him, but considering he was brought in to be a left wing back, I'm not having him.
It's the lack of quality on the ball. I mean, Dallow's doing this thing. I don't know if you guys saw it. Well, I know you was on comms in the WSL game.
I was actually enjoying Arsenal women, Aston Villa women. Yeah.
So you might not have seen it in the highlights you've watched. It was something you had to see as you watched the game. I don't know if you saw, Ryan. But he keeps coming in from right wing back, onto his left foot, and trying to play these clipped balls with his weaker foot into midfield like he's Dani Alves. And I'm just like, what are you doing, bro? What are you actually doing? And look, for me, we keep talking about the system, we keep talking about the manager. I saw a piece of Match of the Day which was really good with Michael Richards talking about all the players, they're already not set in this system. And I saw Mason Mount come on and he's left wing back, then he's left 10, then Bruno's right wing back, then Dallow's right centre back. And this, I know Crookie will talk about this probably when we hear from him a little bit later in the show, but this insistence of the centre backs changing in every single game. Like centre back, apart from goalkeeper here, in terms of the outfield positions, centre back is the one that you just, it's very difficult. It's very difficult to come off the bench and the 75th minute as a centre-back and stuff to get up to speed with wingers and attackers that have been at it all game. You're cold, you haven't had a feel for the ball. Very similar to, and I know it's not the same, but the principle's the same of you're coming on just to take a penalty. Yeah. If you talk, I know it's one thing, you just got to kick the ball in the net, but players do talk about, do you need to have a bit of rhythm, you need to warm up. Yeah. But especially in a match setting. And you're bringing on Lenny Yoro and you've got Kevin Schade and Atara and Thiago up front. They've been running all game, they're fit, they're ready. And you go on, Lenny, go make an impact now, cold off the bench when we're on the back foot. What are you doing? I don't understand it. And for me, this 3-4-2-1 business, look, people say it's not the system because it's the players and this, that and the other. This system is getting found out. It gets the best out of not one player. Yeah. Not one player in the system. You go, well, he's in his best. Maybe Shesko because he's a number 9, and maybe the goalkeeper because he's in goal.
And I guess your number 10s in Mbeumo and Cunha because they have played in that system.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, only Mateus Cunha, really, because he's played as a left. That's what he was playing at Wolves. So you go, that's like for like. Yeah. Other than that, really, it doesn't suit any of our central midfielders. No. In Mbeumo, he's adaptable, but ideally he'd probably just like to be high and wide on the right. But that's fine, he's an adaptable player. Yeah. It's only really those two. And other than that, Dalot don't want to be going up and down having to be a right winger. Dorgu don't want to be doing that.
These players in general, there was, we know that Ruben Amorim's been talking about this aggression and stuff, but we're not seeing it. I think that the players were being muscled off the ball so many times, and we've seen it before, and it is just a little bit embarrassing in that sense. But the fact that also that Ruben Amorim is saying, I don't even know what we're going to get in these games. Again, stop talking. But it's just the fact that he's he wants this aggression, And the first 20 minutes, from my understanding, listening to the commentary to you guys, it was terrible.
Yeah, and it was awful.
It was the polar opposite of that. It was 11 players that looked like they'd never even done an ounce of homework on Brentford. And, Amorim had this whole excuse of, I need time on the training pitch. It's funny how that's disappeared now, hasn't it? He's not using that as an excuse anymore because he can't, because you're only playing one game a week at the moment, thanks to the Grimsby situation. Maybe in the new year with the FA Cup, but, we'll probably get knocked out of that. So you've got all this time on the training pitch, and I would like to understand what are they doing? I want a play-by-play of day in, day out, what these players are doing, because how do you have so much time to prepare and you are coming into games and your manager is saying, I don't actually know what they're going to do.
Do you know what? I think there's every week there's more and more red flags that are popping up when it comes to Amorim himself. I think the worst criticism about that game was what Brentford did is they played Amorim's system against him. That's what they did, because you can see week in, week out what Amorim's doing. And teams that really do their homework can come up with an antidote. And that is exactly what Brentford did. But their back four shifted to the left. So it became a back five because Ouattara became the right wing back. And it completely nullified everything. They just over flooded us. And like I say, they came up with the antidote to Ruben Amorim.
Keith Andrews been adaptable, been a manager of 6 games.
And that's the
6
point.
games.
I know you put me onto the video on your story, Flex, with Glasner saying, well, I got promoted with this team doing a 4-4-2, and I looked at this squad and I said I can play a 4-3-3. It is the adaptability. I understand that you've got a philosophy, but it clearly isn't working. You clearly don't know how to impart your philosophy on this squad as well. And he's coming out at half-time, by the way, one of my biggest critics, there's loads, but he comes out at half-time, head down, shaking his head on the bench like this. I'm sorry, right?
Yeah, the attitudes, the body language isn't
You
good.
can't do that. It's almost like you're taking the penalties. It's almost like you're on. That is not what you're supposed to do. And it's just, what is that doing to the squad, watching that?
Yeah, it's... you can see that we're just going nowhere fast. Before we move on, let's get a word from Crookie about what he thought of the absolute disaster class, and also hear from him about what noises he's hearing about the future of Ruben Amorim as well.
Hi guys, sorry I can't be with you in person today. I'm sure it's going to be quite a heated debate once again about the future of Ruben Amorim. But even Ange and Ryon, who were defending the Manchester United manager a week or so ago, must clearly see the writing is on the wall now. Every time you think the club have taken a step forward, they seem to take 2 back. I thought the performance against Chelsea showed a lot of heart, a lot of character, particularly at the end when Chelsea were coming on strong. There was none of that at Brentford. The start to the game, the shambolic defending for the first 2 goals, the wrong team selection again, in my opinion. No Casemiro. You think, well, this is a golden opportunity to put your faith in Kobbie Mainoo. Show him, if you're Ruben Amorim, that you believe in the player. He didn't. He picked Manuel Ugarte, who I still don't think has the legs to get round a Premier League midfield, certainly not in this system. Lenny Yoro was on the bench. Harry Maguire comes in, doesn't cover himself in glory. I think the fact the United hierarchy are even entertaining the idea of extending Maguire's contract tells you all that is wrong about this football club. And you look at the record now, it's 33 Premier League games, so basically a whole season, 34 points. That is relegation form. We're almost a year into this Ruben Amorim project. He still hasn't won back-to-back games in the Premier League. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that at any one of the other 19 Premier League clubs, he wouldn't be in a job. It's as simple as that. We've seen Graham Potter pay the price for an equally poor run of form at West Ham. And I genuinely believe the only reason that Ineos are briefing that Amorim still has their backing, still has their support, is because he's the man that Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada have hung their hat on. If they end up firing him, and it will happen, I'm almost convinced of that now, it's a question of when and not if. It's a really bad look on the hierarchy, and I think serious question marks have to be asked of Messrs Wilcox and Barada if they're really the right men to take this club forward. And as Sir Jim Ratcliffe said when he came in, get Manchester United back to where they belong. I like Ruben Amorim. I want him to succeed, but I don't think it's going to happen now. And the other issue they've got to contend with is the fact that managers are reluctant these days to take on such a big job mid-season. I don't see that Iriola would leave Bournemouth halfway through the season. Glasner may be different, but that means an interim appointment potentially comes into play. And I believe if he was offered the opportunity to come back again and steady the ship until the end of the season, then Michael Carrick, who had those 3 games after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's departure, would be open to that. And maybe that wouldn't be the worst idea in the world at this moment in time.
Crookie, clearly not happy and was never going to be. And how could he be? How could anyone be? The substitutions, we spoke about, Ryan, about shifting players from here to there. That hasn't helped. But another penalty miss for Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our captain, because I remember, even before pre-season started, and you could see what this new role was going to look like for Bruno. One of my biggest predictions was he's going to become, problem number 1 in inverted quotes. He's going to become alienated or he's going to become one of the biggest problems, whether that's through bad performances, whether it's because he's not suited to that role or lack of confidence, etc. And it's probably a culmination of all of them, which stem from the manager choosing to have this succession path for Bruno Fernandes and build this squad this way.
Yeah.
What do you think's going on with him right now? Because look, the last game we won at home, the Burnley game, he saves us and scores a penalty in the last minute. But Fulham, a little bit before that, he missed one. He scored 2 against Grimsby because he had to take 2. Yeah. But now he's missed 2 penalties out of 3 this season, having scored 11 of the previous.
Yeah, do you know what? It's quite clear that his confidence is, and someone like Bruno who shows up week in, week out. He's never injured. He clearly loves the club. His confidence is shattered. And to be honest with you, the way I look at it, and I agreed with all your pre-season comments about it, I mean, we've created a headache by signing 2 10s when we've got the best 10 in the league. So he gets pushed into midfield. I think we're throwing our captain under the bus. I think that is exactly what's happening here. And he can't play in that role, and it's like the positives I've tried to draw out of the situation is clearly Amorim has a plan for him. And we were talking before the show. The plan is just stick him in the midfield too. That looks like that's the plan, and he cannot play there. So, and the problem with not getting back-to-back wins and having all this negativity on us is if we just lost this game in isolation, we could look at it and say, well, Bruno had to wait 4 minutes, right? Which is, I would sit here and say that's true. That's going to affect any penalty taker, but nobody is going to give him the benefit of the doubt because of the state Manchester United are in right now. It's terrible. We're throwing him under the bus, and I love him. But he had a stinker in midfield. He did. It's getting quite clear week in, week out that he just cannot play there. But what do you do now? What do you do unless you shift the formation and try and get him in there somehow? But we know
he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that.
He'll keep him there. I mean, I must say there was an article in The Guardian by Barney Rode, and he put, I've just got to read this out. The only shame is we will have to wait another 6 months, April at Stamford Bridge, to see if Bruno Fernandes can complete the perfect hat-trick of weirdly missed West London penalties. I just, I don't like to hate on my own club, but it did make me laugh a little bit. But I think with the penalty, there are 2 things that can be true. I think he should score that penalty, and I think that Ruben Amorim has to take a little bit of the blame here because I think you've got Bruno as the most un-Bruno at the moment, if that makes sense, in that he's not comfortable, he's not playing where he's comfortable, he's not, being able to express himself the way that he's used to. And we're seeing that because the goals and assists are drying up. And then on top of that, you're out of sorts and you're having to step up to take a penalty. It is a lot for him. So I think he should 100% score that penalty because, you can be out of sorts, but he is a penalty taker. This should not be an issue. But I also do feel that he was done dirty by the referee. I mean, number one, Brentford should have gone down to 10 players because the fact that they're saying with the rule of, Bruno Mbeumo wasn't in control of the ball. How can you be in control of a ball when you are being dragged back?
And trying to hit it first time, by the way.
They should have gone down to 10 players 100%. But I think the referee here is at fault. And whether we like it or not, he got rattled with the Fulham one with the knock from the referee, which whatever people want to make fun of it would be off-putting, I'd imagine. But you've got to wait 4 or 5 minutes and Brentford made a substitution. That's out of order. I'm sorry, but that is out of order. But I also do feel like if things like that of having to wait rattles him, there is no shame in your game to give the penalty to somebody else. We have other competent penalty takers. The amount of time waiting, whether he takes himself off or or whatever, if he can't wait that period of time and that's sending him under, then there is no shame in someone else taking it.
There isn't, but I just feel like he's scored way too many... he is a serial penalty taker.
He should bang that away.
Elite mentality.
I agree.
For me, Bruno, you just missed. You just missed. I'm not blaming the weight. I'm not blaming the this or the that. He is a fantastic penalty taker. We've seen that. He is tried and tested. What he's actually done, what I think we should speak more about, is he's changed his run-up. He's changed. He doesn't do the hop, skip, jump, send the keeper the wrong way. He's kind of just running up to the ball and hitting it. So, is there something to do with that? Or is it just a case of he's just going for a bad patch of penalties? So it happens, right?
I think he's shot. I think he's confident.
Yeah, because during the game, he hasn't got that same feeling. He hasn't got that same expression. Even though he scored against Chelsea, right? Arriving late, good run, etc. Good ball from Dorgu, etc. Right? But overall in our games, you're not seeing him threading passes through. Yeah. You're not seeing him having shots that much. he looks more isolated from the game just by proxy because he's further away from the goal
That's
now.
his role
He's
now.
in midfield.
Yeah.
Then he's losing midfield runners for a couple of goals. He's done it against Fulham and he's done it against Man City with Phil Foden and Emil Smith-Rowe, respectively. So for me, his game is just being affected. And look, you can say he's a seasoned pro and he's a top player, so he should be able to find a way. And as the season goes on, he'll still find ways to put numbers on the board because no one else will.
Yeah.
But it's just affecting him massively. Another thing I wanted to ask you about, you guys about as well, Ryan, the goalkeeper situation. Now, Bayern did make several key saves, right? Like you said, at 1-0 down, when Harry Maguire decides to try and play an offside trap because he's not quick enough to be running back with Igor Thiago. So he's clean through. The ball skips up, he just rifles it into the top corner. Bayern could do nothing about that.
Yeah.
And then he makes saves from long throws, from corners, Nathan Collins' header, good saves where it's like, this should be 3-0.
Yeah.
But then they hit one ball long, Maguire and De Ligt don't know what to do, and Thiago chests the ball down to Schade. He gets to the byline, cuts it back, and Bayern does an Onana special, which is... Because if Onana did that, would be absolutely raging, where he just palms it back into the danger. Then obviously, like we said with the third goal, he just kind of dives past the ball. Ruben Amorim has made this decision to stick with Bayern. We've bought in £18 million worth of Sonny Lomans. Yes, he's from Royal Antwerp. He's not that experienced, but do you think there needs to be a change?
Of course it does.
There?
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, to be honest, and we were debating about that signing when the goalkeepers come around because it was Emi Martinez that was available, wasn't it, at the time as well. A few of us said Emi Martinez because he can go straight in and he's Premier League proven. They've signed Lamans. For some reason, they've signed a second goalkeeper when we needed a first goalkeeper. I don't understand that at all. But it's quite clear that Bayern is not good enough either because on multiple occasions when balls come into the box, he palms it into them onto the penalty spot. He does that all the time, and he dives past the third goal. I honestly could not get my head around him diving past the third goal. It makes absolutely no sense to me. So what if Crookie was here? He'd be saying, "Well, why is the manager picking him?" And I have to take that point. I do have to take that point. So it's manager and it's goalkeeper. But another thing as well. I mean, you mentioned it there. That's twice now I've seen Harry Maguire on the halfway line getting skinned. In what realm are we in 2025 not knowing what... Even Harry Maguire knows his own weaknesses and what they are because he improved on them. He showed that he could improve on them. Now, I don't know whether he's being hung out to dry by the system or whatever, but Haaland skipped past him and then he's trying to trigger an offside trap by himself. I'm watching this.
That's because he doesn't want to run back there, though. Because I'm not making that. Let me try and... It's a natural thing. If he was quick and... If that was Saliba, you're not trying to play offside there.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly that. So I feel for him in a way. And I've been a massive critic of Maguire, but I feel for him. How are we here in 2025 watching Maguire twice now this season be the last man on the halfway line? It is shocking.
Yeah, it is. Right, it's time to move the conversation on a little bit away from the game, which I would say is, a good thing. But what we're about to talk about is even worse because it's, what does the future really look like for Ruben Amorim? Of course, when we are always one bad result away from disaster and the manager's, tenure coming into question and his future coming into question. There's been quite a bit. I mean, Simon Stone reported that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is keen on Amorim to have a full season, and with this squad. Do the club need to act ASAP and make a managerial change for you, or do you agree with the sentiment that we need to see more, we need to give him more time, we need to have more patience?
It's really, really difficult because, on one hand, it's not working and there needs to be a change. But on the other hand, to get rid of him, whoever you're bringing in, you then have the same narrative that we've had with Amorim. Oh, he's not had a full season. Oh, we need to give him a full season. And then before you know it, you've then had like 3 seasons where you've had 2 managers that have come in halfway and needed full seasons as well. And it just starts to get really messy for me. For me, it's who you bring in. If someone can tell me someone that we can bring in, that 100... And it's hard because it's such a tough job and there are no guarantees.
I don't think that exists, yeah. I don't think that exists of like...
But if someone can tell me a competent person to take over...
Well, the names are Oliver Glasner, the names are Iriola, the names are Gareth Southgate, the names are Xavi, the names are potentially Michael Carrick. We heard from Crookie that it would be interesting.
But I think you can pick holes in all of them.
Yeah.
I think you can pick holes in all of them. So I think it's really difficult. I think for me... it would be... There's a lot of different things at play here. Ineos don't want to admit that they've made another problem. They've made another mistake, sorry. So Ineos are not going to want to pull the plug on Amorim because they've got to admit that they once again have messed up. So I guess Amorim in that sense is kind of lucky. I think that there's also a chance that he could walk. That wouldn't surprise me if he did. There's talk about this, this severance pay that he said that he wouldn't take, but are they going to wait until they don't have to pay that, etc.? But it's just the idea of getting back on this merry-go-round of someone's not good enough, get rid. Or what if they're not going to be good enough, get rid. And it's just really, really difficult to call. I personally think that they will definitely keep him until the Liverpool game. I think they're going to keep him until after the international break, see what happens with the Liverpool game. But we're hearing reports that they're speaking to other people. But for me, I just don't really... It's who you're bringing in. I don't know what the answer is.
I've been thinking about this, Flex, like non-stop. I'll be honest with you. We obviously live and breathe United, and I've just been thinking about it non-stop, and I still don't know where we go because he's clearly not good enough, right? And he's not been good enough so far. Then? So it should be the answer.
He's not good enough. So why would you say if someone's not good enough?
No, I agree, and I'm there with you. It should be the answer. The only problem is. It is who do you bring in? It is who do you bring in? I've been sat here so many times where interim manager this, interim manager this.
No interim manager.
So we need... Somebody needs to be good enough to come and take the helm. I mean, you mentioned Glasner there. He'd be mad to take this job. He's doing such good things at Crystal Palace. We are Man United. Well, according to reports,
according to Ben Jacobs, he would take the job in a heartbeat.
Of course he would.
We're getting tomorrow then.
Of course he would.
If it's someone like Glasner who can adapt. But even Xavi's a punt. Even Xavi is a punt at this stage. I suppose we're going to be there with any manager that we throw up. But one thing's for sure, Amorim has not been good enough. And he'll be very, very lucky to get the whole season. So even you've just mentioned there, getting to Liverpool, what's the point? What's the point? Are we expected to win against Liverpool? What do we want to see in that game? If we've got Sunderland coming up on the weekend, and they're fifth in the table.
Don't win that, then what? All we keep doing is prolonging the inevitable. And I take both your points because I do see a lot of fans saying this of like, just don't want to be in the merry-go-round. What we're going to do? You're going to be back here in 12 months with the next guy. So, that's why. So what? For me. I don't understand why we're so fearful of seeing regression at this rate with nothing tangible, with no form of improvement. We're getting worse. We're saying he's not good enough, but we're still scared to go, got to try something else. The very notion of what football management is exactly that. Every club does it. We keep acting like nobody does this. And we're trying to play this moral high ground of like, but we're Man United, we can't keep sacking manager. Yes, you can keep sacking. In my opinion, as long as you give somebody a sufficient amount of time, which a year is enough to see if there's some improvement.
Yeah.
We're not asking to be in a title race. I'm not even asking to be in the hunt for top 4. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I'm not even saying that he has to finish in European competition.
Yeah.
You can be 8th. You could be 8th with some improvement and something where I look at the squad and say, last year was a bit of an anomaly. Now we're seeing some stuff. We're going backwards.
No,
guys.
we are.
We're going backwards. It's like in life, this is just the notion of life. If you buy a car and it stops working or you lose faith in that brand, you go, yeah, but I don't want to get another brand because what if that breaks down? Then I'm going to be back here in a year's time with a broken car. Well, I'm going to get rid of that car. I'm going to get another brand. Yeah. If you book flights with an airline and you go, it was delayed, it got cancelled, are you never going to book with another airline again to try and get on a plane?
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship you don't like with your partner, do you go, I don't know what I'm going to do in another year's time if that doesn't work? And we're so scared of that as United fans because we're like, we'll be back in a year. I'm saying you get the next guy in, and if the next guy doesn't show anything within 12 months, see you later. Yep. No problem. I look at Bournemouth. Gary O'Neill got sacked when we were going, tell you what, Bournemouth look all right. Yeah. But they went, tell you what, Iriola, we're going to go with him. Look at West Ham. They got it monumentally wrong with Lopetegui. Awful. Said, oh my gosh, we need to change. We have to, can't keep doing this. We're losing every week. Let's get Graham Potter. Karen Brady was on our very show, on Talk, not our show, but on TalkSport, waxing lyrical about how much he's going to support Graham Potter and how much they want it to work. Guess what? He carried on to lose, and he's got 25% win ratio, or 26%. Gone. I'm looking at the bigger team. I even go back to Manchester City. They sacked Pellegrini after winning the league because Pep was available. Don Carlo, he's at Real Madrid. He won Champions, won everything. We're making a change. Xabi Alonso's on the market. But Man United, we can't do it. Spurs finished 17th, guys. 17th, but did one of the biggest things in their history in 17 years and won a trophy. That fan base and that club would have every single reason to emotionally go, we won a trophy, man. This is too good. Even Spurs went, nah.
Yeah, fair.
Nah.
Yeah.
And they already look better for it. So why us, Man United, when we say we're the biggest club in the world, why are we tolerating this?
Yeah, do you know what?
I don't get it.
That's a compelling argument. I have to say, one thing's for sure is he doesn't deserve to be Man United manager based on what
you have to earn it.
Far. Yeah.
This thing that managers like, you got to give him time. Yeah, there's a requisite of that of like, yeah, 10, 15, 20, 25 games, in your first season, you got to give him time. But then there becomes a switch that flicks where now the manager's got to earn time. And he's doing the opposite.
Yeah.
And I love Ruben Amorim. I want it to work so bad. But we are kidding ourselves, guys. That's the thing that's annoying me. Again, after Chelsea, you allow yourself, can we get back to back? Like Ange says, it's embarrassing. We're talking about winning 2 games in a row. What's that stat about Sunderland? What was it again?
So Sunderland are 1 point behind us on Premier League points since April, and they only joined the Premier League in August.
Yeah.
But listen, do you know what? Just be patient. Just be patient.
Yeah.
I said it before, I'll say it again. I don't know what the conversation's about anymore. And actually, I'm not even mad at Amorim. I'm not. Ineos.
Yeah.
Ineos, because
but
to
like
me,
I said,
they're showing that they're not...
Because they've made another mistake. I mean, I think for me it is, let's say that he's going then. Let's say that he's gone. Apart from Oliver Glasner, there are big holes, in my opinion, that you can poke in everyone else. I think Sir Gareth Southgate doesn't...
Would he improve? Would he improve us?
Yeah, immediately.
I don't think he has the... But I don't think he has the personality.
I
don't think he has the personality to be Manchester United manager. I think it's all well and good that you get a lot...
We thought Ruben had it. He's got all the charm. He's brilliant.
I just think you get scrutinised so much as England manager a couple of times a year. Try that week in, week out. For me,
that is pressure, though, isn't it? Dealing with the England, you can't pick the right team for love nor money. There is a similarity there.
Technically, he failed because he didn't win anything. Technically,
got
he
England
did fail.
further than since Italia '90.
Fair enough. But when it came to those big games and those big moments where he had to make a change or he had to switch things up to just get over the line and get that win and get that trophy, he bottled it.
But if Amorim was the manager of England, we wouldn't even qualify.
And that's so rude, but it's true.
But it's true. For me, the Gareth Southgate thing,
Yeah, but I hear you. I'm not saying
Iraola, I do like, and I think, Bournemouth have lost half of their defence in the summer, and he's still managed to push on. My only thing is that I don't think that we have the players to play his style of football, because one thing that he likes is very, very quick midfielders. And I think Bruno and Casemiro don't scream that for me. I'm not bothered about the system, play forward at the back, play whatever you want. And again, I do think the pressure of what Rayo Vallecano and Bournemouth, it is different. I think you look at someone like Oliver Glasner, it's the same. He's not afraid to tweak and not necessarily play the 3 at the back, but he does play the same system. We do technically on paper have certain players like Bruno, Mbeumo, Cunha, Mount. Fair enough, I'm just talking about number 10s here, but like Šeško. We do have, when fit, enough defenders to have a competent 3 at the back when everyone's in fit and in form. So we do have players for that style. So if he did stick to the system and he got them playing better, that's one thing. But he also isn't afraid to switch things up. He's proven in the Premier League with Crystal Palace. He's won silverware.
The run at Crystal Palace
he's won silverware in Europe. And I think it would
Lost
be...
in like 17, 18 games.
Yeah.
Do you know what would be interesting?
It would be enticing for him, though, because at the moment at Crystal Palace, he's probably thinking, all my best players are being sold from under me.
Yeah.
What's the next step? So
I think it'd be
he's
really
the only one.
if Glasner, because Glasner's obviously playing this system, this formation, but he talks about adaptability. And Slot in the post-match conference, obviously Palace beat Liverpool, Slot said, Glasner, he's got players for that system. He knows exactly what he wants out of all his players. I'd love to Glasner to take a look at our squad and go, can they actually play this? That would be such an interesting...
Because he might come in, let's say hypothetically speaking, go, whoa, look at the players I've got to actually play this system. This is great.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you see a better version of the system.
Yeah.
Or he goes, like you said, it's not that.
But then Ineos also run the risk of, say, if they do bring him in, then it kind of, I guess, proves a point that it is the system or it is the players, or I don't know. I just think that there's a little bit of a risk and concern from people about bringing Glasner in who plays the same system. And if that could make...
But he's saying he's
worse.
adaptable.
But
like in that clip, he said, my
I
favourite formation is 4-4-2. I just choose this with Palace.
I agree. I just think that Ineos are going to be a little bit wary of maybe bringing somebody in...
If he's going to play that.
If he's got the same... Do you know what I mean? And I don't agree with that, but if I'm Jim Ratcliffe, if I'm trying to put that cap on, I think that will play a role.
What I do think is absurd, in my opinion, is that if Ineos truly think that they need to, at this rate with what they're seeing, that the right thing to do is he has to have a year, at least this whole season. To me, as a fan, what do I know? It's just my opinion. You're basically saying to us, it's okay to finish 14th or 15th. Because that's where we're going to finish if we carry on.
Yeah, and there's no evidence it will improve.
There's no evidence it's going to be a click. You know, you look at the next, 6 or so games. My God. This little batch of 3 games of the Chelsea win, and then you go, I'll tell you what, get Brentford done, back-to-back wins. Then Sunderland, newly promoted side, that's 3 on the bounce. Then you go to Anfield, of course, we all hold our hands up and say, listen, could be anything. You can win or lose or draw. Well, unlikely to win, but you can get a nick a point. You know, then it's like Brighton at home, Forest away. What? Then Palace.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
I know.
What's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen. We're going to teeter along, might beat Sunderland, and that's at best. Might beat Sunderland, and then we get to Liverpool, we'll lose. We'll lose against Brighton, or not win, and just go on this same run where there's still no back-to-back wins, and we'll be here by the next international break after that one, the October one, and be in the same position. Wayne Rooney said, because he's claimed he has no faith in Amorim, and Rooney was kind of trying to do, I think he's in your camp of because he said, I was battling of whether to actually say this or not.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's not really Rooney's style, is it?
To call for the
to be out there
manager's
bashing the manager all the time and being negative. You know, he's an absolute legend of our football club, right? One of the best ever. But he says, I honestly hope he can turn it around. And he does. But after everything I've seen, honestly, I've got no faith in it. This is Wazza saying this. I don't recognise the whole football club. I don't see players fighting. I don't see character. I don't see desire to win. I don't see ability. I don't see match winners. Nothing gets me off my feet. I go into a game watching, expecting to lose or maybe pick up a point. This is not Man United. This is not all on the manager, which 100%, we all agree with that. There's so much problems at United. It isn't just Ruben Amorim. It's not all on the manager. I'm seeing players not deserving to wear that shirt, and it hurts. When you've been at a football club for that long and you care for the club, I think there needs to be a clear message from the owners of where the club is going, because at the minute, we're all sitting here waiting for it to crumble. But even that, we're asking for a message. Ange, if not Ruben Amorim, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe goes in front of cameras and gives an interview to whoever, to TalkSport, clarifying, well, we believe in Ruben and we're on this process. Even that, it's going to be lip service.
Yeah.
They actually need action, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You need to stop this and show that you got it wrong and move on. But Wazza talking very scathingly there.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough. He's got his opinion. I think, he's tried to not make it completely about the manager, but Wayne Rooney didn't like it when he was getting stick. I'm just of the opinion of all these ex-pros that are just coming out with stuff. We know, great, you're not.
But is he not right?
Yeah, but I'm just like, right, okay, you said it, but it's like you also were then moaning about people criticising you, so you've got to be, if you can dish it out, you've also got to take it as well, is my opinion. But yeah, fair enough, he's right, we all know it. These former players have all got something to say. Do I think that it's always helpful? Not really. I know that we've had that discussion before, but I don't know. I just think with Wayne Rooney, he needs to be able to take it if he goes back into management again, because he didn't like it when he was getting criticised.
Andrew scathing words right back. There you go. Right, now with Man United constantly making the headlines, we need to check in with one of the leading Old Trafford correspondents and a good friend of the show, of course. It's Jamie Jackson, and he's in Ibiza. He's in Ibiza, mate. He's in Ibiza. Did I just see rain in the back there? Was that grey cat? What did I see, Jay? Talk to me.
Right, so I'm here on holiday. I'm DJing tomorrow. I can honestly say...
You DJing, did you say?
It is raining cats and dogs, elephants and tigers, record decks and mixers, yeah? It's unbelievable. To such an extent that some people are losing their cars. I'm in a hire car myself. I'm in a hire car myself. It's absolutely biblical, fighting my way up to San Antonio. So, yeah, here I brought the Manchester weather, and I've got to say, I think the weather's slightly better than United have been this season.
Yeah, just a little bit. Ruben Amorim, mate, since the last time we spoke, it's obviously gone from bad to worse because we haven't had a chance to catch up with you for a little while. And I know you've always been in that camp, Jay, of sort of, you know, wanting him to do well. And I know there was a bit of a time you actually feel sorry for him and he needs this and he needs that. Fast forward to where we are now. What's your take on where Manchester United stand with Amorim and where do you stand with his future?
Yeah, I mean, they're not getting any better. They're probably getting worse. My main thing is how can any elite coach not change systems every now and then? Guardiola does it. You know, Arne Slot will do it. Arteta sort of changed the style. It just seems to me anti-elite coach. You know, how can you possibly be at the top table if you haven't got it in you? You know, there was one time after you lost to City, I asked him, I said, you know, changing the system, it came up. And his answer was, yeah, but if I was a player, yes, and my head coach changed the system, I would think they were weak. And I didn't pipe up and say this, but really, the answer to that is maybe the players would think, actually, you're quite a strong coach, yeah, if you've got it in you to say, you know what, it's not working, this, lads. And we're just going to change it, see how it goes. It might actually, you know, you can go that way as well. I don't think it's a sign of weakness being flexible. I think it's actually a massive sign of strength. So it is baffling. Listen, I think we all saw it. I wrote a piece before the season started that they got themselves into a pickle with a goalkeeper, yes, and it's still there. And this whole number 6 thing, when you as Manchester United bought 2 number 10s, I thought it was 1 number 10 too many. Yes?
Yeah,
use one of those players' money, if you understand what I mean, for whoever it might be, Belieber or whoever they want, and sort out the goalkeeper. He dropped him last season, didn't he? I think it was the Lyon game or around the Lyon game, after the Newcastle game, I think it was. But actually, hilariously, even though I don't think Onana is good enough for United, actually the best keeper, inverted commas, at United has gone on loan, which is Onana. They've actually got rid of the one who I would, if I had to choose one of them, it would be him. I get they brought Lamans in, but, you know, you had a chance Donnarumma was on the market. Martinez at Villa. You know, it's just like, you've gone for a guy who's for the future, who's never played senior international football for Belgium. It's another pickle. You know, it's just... It is baffling. It is absolutely baffling. Now, with regard to his future, after the City defeat, the word from, let's say, up top was he needs to start winning some games. You beat Chelsea, obviously, and then you've absolutely stunk the place out the last time round. And, yeah, this game, Sunderland, on Saturday, I can see it being, as you've been discussing quite rightly, they might get a result. But as you just quoted there, Wayne Rooney, and I think we all agree, this is Manchester United. It's not the dog and duck or my son's under 14 team. It's Manchester United. You know, they should be really dealing in mites. You know, obviously you can lose the odd game, but it's just, I'm going to be polite here. It is baffling what is going on there. So, you know, international, I can see him going if he loses, if he loses Sunderland. I mean, I think Southgate has been sort of countenanced. They've had a word with him about, you know, would you be up for it? I know you're discussing the sort of, you know, pluses and negatives with regards to him, but that is the stage we are at. Now, he might do a Fergie all those years ago and pull it around, you know, the whole Tara Fergie, 4 years, that's enough, etc., etc. But my issue isn't the time he's had. My issue is that you can't, as again, you've been discussing very sort of properly, you can't see any real signs of hope consistently, can you? You can't say, okay, right, you know, I know we've lost to Brentford, but wait a minute, we've beaten X, Y, and Z, and we've lost to this team, but we played well in that game, and actually, you know what I mean? And I actually thought people, just my opinion, overreacted to the Arsenal defeat because you still lost. I didn't think you were that great. Yeah, Cunha and Mbeumo ran around a bit, and there's a bit of an attacking flavour. That's the very least United should do. You know, it's the very least. It's Manchester United. it's like almost like a race to the bottom. It's become accepted. Oh, we've lost to Arsenal at home. I mean, I know the keeper threw one in. I understand all that, but generally, I just think it's only heading one way for him, and it is a complete mess. And I hate to say it because I want everyone to do well. I think Ineos have made the club worse. I think they've got the right intentions, and maybe there's that Dylan line, the darkest point before the dawn. Maybe what we're seeing now, but I've said this before through the years, it's not just this manager and this regime, is it? It's basically since Ferguson walked away, and you saw actually the holes that the Glazers had sort of allowed, to be present in the club, which Ferguson had been such a genius had held together. So it's been going on for 12, 13 years.
Jay, before we let you go, candidates then. You touched on Gareth Southgate there. Glasner has been mentioned, Iriola's been mentioned, Xavi's been mentioned. Michael Carrick, we heard a little bit from Crookie earlier in the show of he would be tempted, etc. What's your understanding or your opinion on who could maybe take the reins? Because a lot of United fans are sort of sceptical about, but who do you turn to now then to sort this mess out?
Right, first of all, for me, the person coming in has to be able to play more than one system, right? Yes, just has to, just simple as that. Otherwise, in my opinion, forget about it. I would look at Frank. I know he's just gone to Spurs, and I know it's, Spurs is not...
Well, try and get him out of Spurs.
Well, listen, every summer your club blows £250 million on players that never seem to work. Why not actually have a bold move, like go for Thomas Frank? I know he's just gone into Spurs, or someone who actually seems out of reach because, they're very good and they've just arrived at a club, but actually... instead of sort of, doing it a little bit... I mean, Amorim, for me, he was unproven in the Premier League. Thomas Frank is. And I'm not saying he would work. I get that. It's always a chance that these things don't work. But I just feel that if I look around the Premier League of someone who I reckon has got a real good football brain, really good with players, and has the intelligence and all the ways you want, a football person to be intelligent, I would go for someone like him. Otherwise, whoever you bring in, they've got to be able to be fluid with systems. This whole thing, for me, systems is a red herring. I think it affects players. I think if you're playing a 3-4-3, suddenly Dorgu thinks he can't play left back. Is there really much difference between a left back and left wing back? You're supposed to get up and down the field and defend in both positions, right? So I think the coach, by deeming, we've got to have this system, almost limits some players' approach. Oh yeah, I'm only good in this system. I don't believe that. They've got to Manchester United. You must be a very good footballer.
Yeah.
So let's get, you want someone in there who is really, really proactive and positive and able to sort of boost the players and be fluid. Fluidity for me.
Yeah. Jay, thank you very much for taking the time out to talk to us. Get back on your travels. Get set up for the club night. I want to hear it. I want to see it. I love this. I'd had no idea that you DJ as well. So enjoy it tonight, mate.
Thank you very much.
Nice one, Jamie Jackson there from The Guardian. Guys, before we wrap up, Ryan, for you, just a yes or no.
Yeah.
Does Ruben Amorim make it past this international break coming up after Sunderland?
Will he?
Yeah.
Yes, he will.
Ange?
Yes, but not for much longer after that, basically.
Maybe not the next one, but this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm going to say he will, because Ineos, even if we messed up against Sunderland, I don't think they will have the strength to be able to be like, right, enough's enough if we drew, so yeah, and obviously if we win, then definitely not. So yeah, I think Ruben Amorim will still be here. Right, that's all we've got time for on this week's Inside Devils. A big thanks to Angelina Kelly, Ryan, Scott Douglas and Jamie Jackson. Of course, we heard from Crookie earlier in the show, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully after a win against Sunderland, but who knows?